Hello, my name is Nwachukwu, and this is my podcast, Real People, Real Business. As you all know, I like to invite entrepreneurs and business people onto the podcast to tell us their story about how they became entrepreneurs, the journeys they went through, the challenges they faced, their failures, their struggles, and how they overcame all of that to become successful entrepreneurs, so that we can all learn from their experiences and maybe take away some nuggets of wisdom that can help us in our own ventures. On today's episode, I have an amazing guest. She goes by the title or the African CEO. She is an entrepreneur. She is the CEO of Dawia Family Office. Her expertise started out in finance and investment banking, and she's worked in the UAE. She's worked in Africa and France. Anissa Boulahya, thank you so much for coming on Real People, Real Business.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So Anissa, I want to hear your story. You're a Tunisian woman. Did I get that wrong?
Yes, Algerian.
Algerian.
We're all brothers and sisters.
We're all brothers and sisters.
Algerian.
So my bad, my mistake. We'll probably cut that out. So you're Algerian. And, you know, when we were talking earlier about your history, you talked about how you started in Algeria and your entrepreneurial drive started with inspiration from your father, you know, but you then went on to kind of start your career in France in the corporate world, as most of us do. Can you tell me a little bit about, you know, kind of starting out in Algeria and then eventually ended up in France?
Yes, sure. Yes, so I was born in an Algerian family, very loving Algerian family, a very large Algerian family. I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters.
Fantastic.
Was raised in Algeria until 1991. I was 9 years old. And then we actually moved to Niger.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a joke about Algerians immigrating north, we immigrated south. Exactly. And the reason we immigrated south was because my dad was going to preside the African Center for Meteorological Applications to Development, which was the former way of referring to climate change's impact on societies and how to actually allow the African communities to become weatherproof and adapt to the climate changes, etc. So it was a very, very exciting journey in Niger. Stayed in Niger until I was done with my high school. And then, unfortunately, as many of us Africans, we have to then migrate to some other countries to do our education. Yeah, exactly. So went to France, did a prep school in South France, in Toulouse. Then moved to London, where I did my first year at ESCP Europe, which is one of the, let's say, strongest business schools in the French system. Did the second year in Madrid. Did the third year in Paris.
Wow.
And then started my career in banking in France.
Okay, fantastic.
That's how it started.
Great. So what was it like, you know, working in France in the corporate world? What were your experiences, and how did that sort of translate to you becoming an entrepreneur, becoming your own business person, and ending up in the UAE?
Yes, sure. Actually, I started my career in 2008 in finance, in investment banking. You may recall it was a very bad year to start a career, right? It was the financial crisis. Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. Everybody was crying. And I was there sitting in Paris in Crédit Agricole, which is one of the largest French banks in the investment section. And I was thinking, oh man, I just have an Algerian passport. If I don't find a job, I'll have to go back to Algeria. And I wasn't feeling very comfortable starting my career in Algeria. So I started looking for a job very early in that turmoil, let's say. And I ended up finding actually more than an option. So that was a lesson for me. When you try, you get it done. Whatever the difficulty it is hard. It's always hard. But you can get it you can achieve your goals. So I actually landed not one job, but actually various jobs. And I had the luxury of choosing what I wanted to do in 2008, which is like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
And I picked the best role ever to start my career, which was a very transversal role in Crédit Agricole Commercial and Investment Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And it was challenging, it was demanding, it was much, I would say for someone who would be much older and much more experienced than what I was, but actually that's when I met my first mentor. My boss was a mentor to me, and he brought me from being an intern to being a very effective portfolio optimization advisor. And from there, went on with other roles and responsibilities within the banks, moved to Royal Bank of Scotland, became a relationship banker, a relationship manager for corporates, and then went up to business management of the regional CEO for Royal Bank of Scotland.
Fantastic.
Was doing super well. Then second big crisis in the financial realm, and actually that one was more specific to mortgages and to Royal Bank of Scotland. We were going through a lot of headaches, and Royal Bank of Scotland decided to close or reduce the core European presence, the continental European presence, and Paris, Luxembourg, and Belgium were. And Brussels, were amongst the cities that were going to be reduced, kept but reduced. So that's when I started looking at opportunities, because I thought, okay, I've had a lot of fun, but maybe now it's time to do something even more challenging.
Right.
And while I was spreading my CV around, it came to the deputy CEO of National Bank of Abu Dhabi in Dubai. And by luck, but luck needs to be provoked, right?
Yep.
But by luck, he was needing exactly my profile to develop like a regional head here in a regional office in Dubai for the National Bank of Abu Dhabi. And that's how I got kind of headhunted, but not really, because I did send my CV to a friend who sent it to a friend who sent it to a friend who sent it to the CEO, you know?
Connections.
Without actually me realizing my CV was going around. It was a very big and beautiful surprise when they called me to say, hey, we hear you're coming for holidays next week. Really? How do you know that? We know because we've been told so. That was really, really, really funny part of the story. So I came on holidays in March 2025, went through 9 interviews in National Bank of Abu Dhabi in 4 days.
Wow.
Got the job, came back on the 11th of September. Very key date that I always remember, and started as the right hand to the CEO in Dubai for National Bank of Abu Dhabi. Went through the merger with FGB, contributed to the creation of FAB, now, First Abu Dhabi Bank. And then in May 2018, I was very, very tired of banking, very tired, because the merger was complex and there were a lot of political matters to manage, and I'm not a very political person. I'm more of a technical type of person. And just when I was starting to be like, okay, maybe it's time to look somewhere else, crossed the way of a family office, a multi-family office based on Sheikh Zayed Road in Dubai, told them a bit about my story, and they were like, oh, but we're looking exactly for that type of profile to help us develop our family office here. So I joined them in May 2018, worked with them for almost 3 years. And then unfortunately on the 8th of Feb 2021, they actually asked me to leave. It was a big surprise. I was like, really? Like, what did I do wrong? Anyway, asked me to leave, and I was totally destroyed. I was like, wow, how can that be? How can I be fired? Because that was the word, like I was fired. And I didn't understand how I could be fired. Went home, started thinking about what am I going to do next? I really wasn't planning that incident in my life, in my corporate life. That's when I received a call from one of the investors I was working with. And he said, Anissa, what are you doing for lunch? And I was like, apparently nothing, right? I just lost my job, so my agenda went like from very full to totally empty.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? Come for lunch.
Mm.
I went to have a lunch with him. He was sitting with two entrepreneurs, new to the UAE, struggling with everything that I had to go through administratively for their families, for their personal matters, etc. They were finding it hard to navigate their way. And the investor sitting at the table said, did I tell you Anissa helps people like you settle down in the UAE from a business and a personal perspective? And in my head, there was like,
Really?
like
The same Anissa we're talking about?
who is he talking about? Anyway, long story short, the two entrepreneurs said, we really need someone to help us.
Yes.
And that's how I started on the
On the fly.
9th of Feb.
Okay.
I was fired on the 8th of Feb.
Yeah.
On the 9th of Feb, I started my new journey as an entrepreneur.
Fantastic.
I didn't even know I was starting my journey as an entrepreneur,
Fantastic.
but it went from there.
Okay. I want to zero in on, 8th and the 9th of Feb, because there are probably people who are in your situation that, okay, I might be in a job that they know they're going to be leaving, or they're out of a job and they potentially don't have purpose out of work. I want to understand, 8th of Feb, you said you were destroyed. You were fired, and obviously that comes with a lot of anxiety, fear, like what's next. What were you feeling beyond that? And did you think, okay, well, I'm going to just go into my shell, or I'm going to just fight it? Or, how did you react to that? Let's just assume that the 9th of Feb didn't happen. How did you see yourself moving on from the 8th of Feb?
Yes. I think it's like mourning a situation, mourning a lost person. I think there is a period where you're totally frozen. Like you don't know what you're going to do next. You feel like nobody understands you, nobody knows, everybody's trying to help, but they're not saying the right things, they're not saying what you want to hear. I really was down, really. In my head, I was thinking about how am I going to organize my time, and what am I going to be next? What am I going to be doing next? Fortunately enough for me, I had other businesses on the side.
Okay.
Because when I started in the multifamily office in May 2018, I felt I had time to develop some other ventures on the side. And I had started an African-inspired corporate gifting business, which you see here. This is one of the samples that we do. And I also was the co-owner of a Nigerian restaurant, Catfish.
Okay, yeah.
So at that point, I was like, shall I focus on developing Ashanti design with the corporate gifting and Catfish as a restaurant, or shall I start planning for the future differently?
Yeah.
But the reality is I didn't have any strength. What I want to come to, be open to opportunities, be open to luck, because opportunity is a luck in disguise, right? So I was thinking about how I could leverage my existing side businesses into becoming real businesses. I was also thinking on how to update my CV and send it to all my networks in the banking, but at the same time, I wasn't really feeling like I would want to go back to banking. I didn't have enough experience into the multifamily world to be at that moment convinced I could launch one of my own, which I ended up doing. But at that point of time, you would have asked me, why don't you just do it on your own? I would be like, no, I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough. I don't know enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on that a little bit more before we go on to 9th of February and how that launched your business, because you made 2 points here. One is, while you had your full-time job, you started these side businesses, these side hustles. And so when calamity struck, you were like, well, I kind of have this option here to move into something, even from just a mental point of view. It wasn't like you were entirely left out in the cold. And I try and encourage people, like, have something outside of your 9 to 5 that gives you some purpose. So the other thing as well is, you worked in this family office for a period of time. But then when it came to, okay, starting my own, you kind of second guessed yourself and you had this limiting belief that I can't do it, which a lot of people tend to say, okay, well, I've worked in this industry for a year, but I cannot venture. I have the skills, I have the knowledge, I've been there compared to someone who's never been there, but I can't launch pad myself into it. And so if you were to look back now, would you still have that same doubt? And how would you encourage people like, listen, just jump in. Sometimes just do it and then figure it out and take the learnings whether it succeeds or not?
Yes. No, actually, if I were to go back to the 8th of Feb 2021, I wouldn't second guess myself and I would start right away. The reason being, I understood now that it's not about what you know. It's about what you're capable of, and also who's around you and who's ready to support you.
Yes.
I was already in a relationship with my husband. I was already feeling on that side very comfortable, very backed. I wasn't feeling alone. Like I knew if something goes wrong, I wouldn't be like out of home and out of food, right?
Yes,
I had someone backing me up. Not just my husband, all my family, my brothers, my sisters, my dad. I knew they would be there for me. I knew if something would go wrong, they would be there. For some people, it's a bank. For some people, it's a loan. For some people, it's family support. But there is support. There is a system around you. The other thing I learned with experience is that if there are things you don't know how to do, or you're scared, or you need guidance, there are business coaches. There are people to mentor you, to coach you. If you're lucky enough like me and you have them in your circle, fine. If you're not lucky enough and you don't have this type of personage around you, or you're not able to identify them, there are professional business coaches that can help you get started. And I'm a very hard believer of being mentored and being coached. So no, I wouldn't. I would totally go ahead. And now when people come to me and say, hey, Anissa, I have this idea, but I'm scared, but this, but that. And I tell them always drop the but and just do the first step.
Yeah.
And then when you're done with the first step, you will have also a lot of but coming to you. Then drop the buts and do the second step, and so on and so forth. And I really encourage them to get started. Now, on the side business, I want to say something. I did well not going into developing these side businesses. Why? Because I realized that what ends up making money is what you have a real belief in and a real expertise in, even if the expertise is not sufficient in the beginning to allow you to start a business on your own. At least I knew I could acquire that knowledge very quickly. It was in my blood. I could do it. But restaurant and corporate gifting, I was having a lot of fun.
Yes.
I was making a little bit of money.
Yes.
But I knew it was not the scope of business or the area, the industry where I would really be able to make a difference. But on corporate gifting, wealth management, family office type of work, banking, etc., I knew I had a lot of knowledge and a lot of network, a very strong network. And I knew this would help more than the rest.
Great. Fantastic. So, something else you touched on here is support, right? And you talked about mentors and coaches and how you really believe in having those. I'd want to understand how that has helped you, having mentors and coaches. Like if you were to sort of really kind of elaborate, because one of the things I notice when I speak to a lot of small business people who want to become entrepreneurs, they're going into it without that support. They're going in on their own to start with, and then there's no mentors, no coaches, there's no one around them that can give them that support. So I'd like to understand how that has impacted you.
It has helped in every way possible, and I would totally do it. I would totally ask the new entrepreneurs to look for mentors and coaches and support. A lot of people will tell you, we don't talk about our idea, or we don't want to expose our problems because we get criticized, or we get envied, and people will steal our idea, or people will discourage us, and it's true, but it's not significant. Like that's not what's going to make your business a failure or a success.
Yes.
What I've learned in 3 years now, because it's been 3 years that I'm 100% entrepreneur and counting only on the entrepreneurship, I learned that people have gone through it before you, people have failed before you, and even if you're not ready to listen to what they have to say, or even if what they say will upset you or bother you, please be ready to listen to them and don't react right away. Just take the time to digest what your mentors, your coaches, and people around you, your support system will tell you, because you'll end up finding out that they might be right. And the reason is they've gone through the same issues before. So I'll give you one anecdote. You know, when you start a business, there's a lot of firefighting. There's a lot of things will go wrong, and you will need to go out of your way to correct them, right?
Yes, yeah.
And one day I was driving my small Pajero with one of my very wealthy clients sitting on my side, and he's made a fortune making jackets for big brands. That's his business. And I was telling him, I don't understand. Like every morning I wake up and issues. Like, when is this going to end? And he said, never. I said, how never? And he said, no, never, because entrepreneurship is about waking up in the morning and resolving problems, resolving issues. The day you don't have anything to resolve, you don't have a business anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And since the day he told me that, I started approaching the day-to-day events as part of the business.
Yes.
Not as, oh, the whole world is against me, I'm so unlucky, nah.
Yeah.
No, it's part of the business.
Yeah.
So let's just like look at them with a smile, tackle them, make it happen, you know? And it changed my mindset, and it helped me be more confident, be more willing every day. If you ask him today, he would say he's not a mentor to me. But he just with this sentence, he actually changed so many things.
Yes.
And I'm lucky because my clients are successful.
Yes.
That's what Dawia Family Office does.
Yes.
Dawia Family Office caters to successful entrepreneurs expanding into the UAE.
Yes.
So actually, my own clients are becoming more and more my mentors.
Your mentors.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. I think, like you said, you know, even when I run my own ventures, I realized that, listen, it's about solving, like, the problems are going to come. And I liken it to playing a game. The problem is going to come. It's your job just to figure out a way to solve it, right? Exactly. You're not going to have this long-term solution that covers everything. So, you know, and that's why I advise people, like, it will come. Figure a way how to solve that quickly. Move on to the next one. And your job is just to keep things going as smoothly as possible by being involved.
Yes.
So
and also I would add one thing. Don't stop at the first obstacle, the second obstacle, the third obstacle. I can tell you one of my most important client to me now, I started the venture with him doing such a stupid and big mistake. It costed me 20,000 euros. It costed me huge stress. I felt like, okay, I'm dropping everything. How can I make this kind of mistakes and so on? 3 years down the line, he's still my client. He loves me. I love him. We do a lot of work together. The whole family is like, we know the whole family. We work with the whole family. He's very happy with our businesses. He doesn't even remember. Each time I remember that episode, I have like, you know, I have like...
You're traumatized.
I have like, like a knife in my stomach, you know. But he doesn't even remember it. He's just okay. You've made a mistake. You corrected it. It costed you money. That's life, you know. But that's why also I say to people, don't worry, you will fail. It's not all the firefighting is not about fixing everything. You will also, there are some things that you will not be able to fix, and you will feel like it's the end of the world. I'm not going to be an entrepreneur anymore. I'm going to go back and work for someone, etc. But if you stick around, if you keep doing what you're doing, these will become anecdotes.
Yes, fantastic. So I want to move on to Dawia Family Office. You've touched a bit on it, and you know how you help wealthy clients move their business into the UAE. But I just want to understand a little bit more about the company and what it is you do, and you know, just basically tell us what Dawia Family Office is.
Yes. So Dawia Family Office builds prosperity and legacy for our clients. How we do that? Our clients are successful entrepreneurs that have very complex backgrounds. They have already been exposed to different industry, different economies, and so on. And they are in a situation where I compare it to the business continuity plan in the bank. When I was in the bank, we had the business continuity plan.
Yes.
If things go wrong or may go wrong, and if on the other hand you have how do you say, a strong potential, which is the UAE and Dubai today, plan for it, start moving towards it, etc. And that's what our clients are doing.
Fantastic.
They're looking at the opportunity that is Dubai, and they're also looking at business continuity, okay? And they see Dubai and the UAE as a potential solution for them to move their business, expand their business, create new businesses. But not only that, not only the business side, they're looking at the UAE to actually offer an alternative to their families, the security, the education, the lifestyle, everything, name it. Where else? Dubai, right?
Yes.
And we are here to welcome them. We guide them. We act as a partner for them to resolve not only their business-related concerns, but also their family needs. And we put everything together, and alongside our clients, we build longevity, we build legacy for them. We make sure that whatever they're building will still impact lives, still survive when they are gone, right?
Fantastic.
So that's what we do with Dawia Family Office.
Okay, fantastic. So essentially you make it a soft landing for them to come into Dubai. You help keep their legacy going.
Yes,
Fantastic.
exactly.
Great. So we are moving on to the final section of the podcast. And this is a section I call Share Your Wisdom. And so I have 3 questions for you, which again, we can share with the audiences here. But the first question is, what is the most surprising fact that you've learned about yourself in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yes. What I learned about myself is I'm not that strong, but it's okay.
Okay.
That's what I learned. So everybody around me was seeing me and talking about me and telling me, oh, Anissa, you're a warrior. Nothing can resist you. Everything you touch, you transform in gold, and so on and so forth. And I felt like I had to match that image, right? And then all of a sudden I realized when I lost my job on the 8th of Feb 2021, I realized, you know what? I'm not that strong. Everything I touch doesn't convert into gold. But you know what? It's still okay. It's still okay because I know I can work on things. I know they're hard, but I know I can transform that hard into success.
Yes.
Accepting that you are weak, but it's okay. That you may face issues, but it's okay. So but it's okay is very important, very, very important. So that's what I learned about myself. So many people will tell you, I was not that weak. Me, it was the contrary, I learned I was weak, but it's okay.
But it's okay.
Yes.
No, absolutely. And I think, some of the strongest people are those who realize where they're weak, right?
Exactly.
Because then you either say, I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at, and I can either improve on it, rather than just being blind and say, I'm strong on all points. Because eventually, that's going to overwhelm you. And it can lead to even burnout,
Yes, exactly. It's about feeling the emotion and being okay with it.
Okay.
I was not paying attention to the emotion because I'm strong.
Yeah.
I don't need to feel weak. I don't need to feel scared. I'm strong.
Yes.
But then I said, you know what? It's okay. I'm scared. Things may go wrong, but it's okay.
I love that. Weak, but it's okay. Fantastic. And so the second question is, what do you consider to be success that's relative to you? How would you define success for yourself?
Yes. For me, success is building a legacy. It's exactly what I'm doing. As you know, Dawia is the first name of my mom, my late mom.
Yes.
I lost my mom in 2020, not because of COVID, but because of a tumor that came out of nowhere and took her in no time. And I realized that she had so many things still, like she wanted to do, so many people she wanted to talk to. So she wanted to build a lot of things and over no time.
Yes.
So I took that mission of building her legacy, continuing her work. And I want to offer that to all our clients, saying like life is unpredictable, but you can do things, you can put in place certain things now that will make your legacy last for generations and generations and generations, not just for your family, but also, for example, your employee, the businesses you have created, the value you have created in the society, etc. So my aim is to create legacy, and that's let's say that's for our clients, but also something I really have very I'm very keen on achieving is giving opportunities to people that wouldn't get these opportunities otherwise. So I'll give you an example. I recruit and develop my team in a way that they access a job they would never have accessed, access a salary they would never have accessed, access a social status that they would never have dreamt of even. And also I recruit interns, very young and experienced staff, because no one wants to give them the opportunity. You know, you go out there and they tell you, do you have 5 years experience in this and that? No, I'm just out of university. You know, guess what? At Dawia Family Office, you can come even before you finish university, even if you have never been to university, no problem. You know, we will help you develop as long as you display the right attitude, the right behavior. We will help you go from anywhere to somewhere.
Fantastic.
For sure. And you can interview my team members. My executive assistant was a kindergarten assistant, and she was just taking care of babies in Pakistan. You should look at her now. She's driving CEOs, telling them, no, this is not possible. We need to put the appointment at that date, that time. She's driving. She's actually more essential to the business than myself.
Than yourself. Yeah.
And for me, that's like, wow. That's an achievement. So giving opportunities to people that can't even dream of them.
Fantastic.
That's what I want to do.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So empowering those around you and driving your mother's legacy.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And really allowing them to change social strat, you know, social level.
Social layers and
exactly.
Hierarchy.
Yes.
That's really good.
So then they can provide for their families, they can educate their children, and they can change the world. That's how we change the world, right?
Yeah. You empower this generation to change next generation.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
That's my aim. So now I only have 12 employees, unfortunately, only 12, but I want to have 500, so I can allow 500 to change.
You start somewhere.
Exactly.
You know, I think there was on day one you just had one employee.
Myself, and I wasn't paying myself a salary, so technically I wasn't even an employee.
There you go. There you go. So
and that's just 3 years ago.
It's massive success, you know, and it is growth, and you know, as long as the business is growing and you're maintaining that growth in a sustainable way, you're going to be okay. So, you know, maybe this time next year you will have 30 employees.
Inshallah.
Never know. So I'll be more than happy to interview you again. So I love this. I love building your mother's legacy. I love the fact that you're trying to empower people for a long-term change in their lives and the greater community even. So I really love that. The final question is around what advice would you give to others who are in a similar position like you, who are thinking of maybe starting up their own business, but maybe have no idea how to start it or where to go? What would you advise them?
Yes. The first advice is be careful of partnerships. Be very careful, because people want to start and they would think, let me plug myself to this person, he will give me the money. Let me plug myself to this person, she will give me the knowledge, etc. I would say don't. There will be a moment in the development of your entrepreneurship career or path where you will find the right partners to come on board with you. But in the beginning, you're too weak and you're too in a hurry. So you make wrong decisions and you partner with the people that will not bring you what you want, but bring you the problems you haven't anticipated and the risks you haven't anticipated. So I really advise people to start, if possible, alone, if possible, until they mature their idea, they mature their business, they mature so many aspects of the business, and then they can look for partnership. But in order to kind of compensate for the absence of support from partners, I would advise anyone and everyone to take a coach. I've just done it 6 months ago, and it transformed the way I am looking at my business. You are alone, driving this car that goes very fast, and you don't have the right anticipation. You don't anticipate enough what's going to come next.
Yes.
A business coach or a mentor that has business experience and has time for you will help you anticipate things.
Yes.
And will help you build clarity around your business, around what you are trying to achieve. And building clarity will then help you feel less overwhelmed.
Yes.
And it creates a positive circle where you start enjoying every step of the business experience instead of subir. I don't know how you say in English. Instead of like taking it
all on yourself.
On yourself, yes, exactly.
No, I agree. I always say the same thing as well. Sometimes as business people, we're so focused on being in the trenches, right there in the mud and doing all the firefighting, that we forget we need to also be the general on the hill that sees everything before miles ahead. And so having someone, either a partner or, like you said, a coach or a mentor that can remind you and help you organize and help you strategize, is essential. You need those extra sets of eyes, mind and heart to say, hey, you should be looking at it this way rather than just focus on the day-to-day nitty-gritty things,
Yes.
So
yes, because once you build the right model, money will flow your way. It's not an issue. Clients will come to you. You will make money, but you just need to build the right system, the right model. And I think a coach or a very strong mentor is essential for that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anissa. Your story has been so amazing and inspiring. The fact that you had a shocker, with your job, and you were able to pivot, turn around so quickly and start your own business, and you're successful with 12 employees now. I mean, it's really inspiring. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you so much for telling us your story, and hopefully other people will be inspired just as I have been.
Thank you, Isu.
You're welcome.